also you could need intensive care unit. These are two conditions where you would definitely need to be in an intensive care unit, and that those are the kind of patients that we have been dealing with. From the patient point of view, of course, we have seen patients. It's not just that patients turn bad. There's a very common myth that once you go on a ventilator, there's nothing left, nothing more that you can do, which is not true. Treatment protocols have evolved. We are constantly, people all over the world are suffering. So, of course, everybody's gotten together. There are newer drugs that are coming in, newer modalities, newer protocols that are being launched. So we are putting in an effort, and a lot of patients are turning around. People are coming off the ventilator, people are going home. People who had tracheostomies are speaking again, and that is wonderful to see.
Yeah,
It encourages us also to continue working. At the same time, these are, of course, COVID patients. At the same time, we also have to remember that when you have a population as large as ours, COVID is not the only problem that we are going to face. People
yeah,
have other issues like cancer, there are road traffic accidents, trauma, heart attacks or strokes, which have not stopped. Other medical emergencies also continue. And given the kind of population that we have, which is very strongly hypertensive or diabetic, these problems also do come up. So while we are focusing on COVID, we cannot forget that we have all these other issues also, and we do need to look at these patients. So there is a certain section, what I said earlier, the non-COVID hospitals. Like my hospital has been also designated non-COVID. So we are dealing, all the cancer patients then get diverted to us. So what we have to do, because COVID is so rampant, is
yeah,
that we do a test on them at the same time, so that, because we have to be safe about the other patients also. So they come to us, we are doing a test, and we are continuing to operate with full, of course, PPE, of course, because right now the situation is such that everybody, either you are suspect COVID or you are proven COVID. There's no such thing as non-COVID and COVID right now.
yeah,
So you have to be very particular, very safe. We have to keep watching for signs and symptoms of any deterioration. But at the same time, we do need to take care of the problems that they are facing also, apart from COVID. So that
yeah.
is another aspect of care.
Yeah, and that's a very valid point that you make, that COVID is certainly not the only problem that our country faces. And
Yes.
on the point of the burden or the stress that we healthcare workers are undergoing during this crisis, and
Yes.
I really admired the post that you had on Instagram, and in fact, that's the post that we used for
Yes.
promoting today's session.
Yes.
And
Yes.
you were proud to show off your stars. And
Yes.
uh, do you, as a fellow person from the medical fraternity, do you think it's interesting that offbeat disciplines such as anesthesiology, psychiatry, and maybe microbiology have just it's almost COVID has given us
Yes.
offbeat people a bit of a
Yes.
mainstream role, hasn't it?
Yes, yes, absolutely, absolutely. You're bang on. First of all, you're not just a colleague, Dr. Das. You are, yourself are a COVID warrior, if I'm not wrong. You have
Yeah,
worked in
I
the COVID wards,
am. I
yes. So
am.
I
I am.
think
Yeah.
I think we should very proudly introduce you also as a COVID warrior. You're not just my medical colleague. You're probably doing a fantastic job there. And I would like to congratulate you and all your colleagues for that also, apart from all the psychiatry work that y'all are doing. You know, the thing is, because it's such a crisis, this has literally been everybody has been called to the, they keep comparing it to a war. They keep calling COVID a war. And we've all been like soldiers. We are all fighting on the front lines. It's not just critical care people or just chest physicians who are involved anymore. Everybody has been asked to come and tender their services in whatever capacity possible. And no service is too big or too small. First and foremost, like everybody has answered that call. Everybody is coming forward, in whatever way possible, whether it's the doctors or the nurses or the technicians. We're all out there, and I think it's phenomenal to see that kind of support from the healthcare fraternity in general. As far as doctors go, yes, definitely. I think when I did anesthesia, most people used to ask me, "अरे आप क्या करते हो? What is anesthesia? अच्छा आप सुला देते हो, अच्छा आप बेहोश करते हो, so you're not a surgeon. तो आप
you
ऑपरेशन में
you
क्या
can you can
करेंगे?"
only you can only imagine, Dr. Patil, the kind of questions people ask me when I tell them I'm a
Yeah.
psychiatrist.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. It's quite funny, and people can say whatever they want, and it's really, I said, it's very bizarre. I said, I'm the one that keeps you alive while somebody's cutting into your body. How's that? And they would just laugh and be like, oh, there's no such thing. And now suddenly, given
Yeah.
the kind of effect that the virus has had, definitely people know what anesthetists do. Definitely, given the kind of mental health problems, this is not just a viral pandemic. I keep saying this over and over again. This is a mental health crisis also. Already, with the lockdown, with the quarantine, with the stress of the viral disease, with the economy going into, turmoil, psychiatrists are also going to be needed in much larger numbers, I think, than even us at some point. Microbiologists and pathologists who how people have spoken about non-clinical fields, so to speak, radiology, pathology, microbiology, and I think everybody is finally getting their due. So
Yeah.
it's good that people are realizing that it's not just one person who is going to save you. It's
Yeah.
always a team. It's a holistic approach to healthcare, and that has come to light for a lot of people. So I'm very happy that that has happened. I mean, there's one good
before
thing, I
before
guess.
Yeah, that's an excellent answer, Dr. Patil. And before I open this discussion for questions, I know the participants and some of our guests who are listening in have a lot of questions for you. I just like to ask you one last question myself. You
Yes,
come from the background of hospital administration as well, and
yes,
as we keep hearing in the news, and the health policy just keeps getting more aggressive. And
yes.
first we had aggressive oxygen therapy, dexamethasone, and then monoclonal antibodies and
Mm.
antivirals, and suddenly all these options that we have, you think also raises a big question mark on our supply chain and the availability of those life-saving medicines, and that is something that industry as a whole has to really take care of in a more serious way.
Uh, you know, I think supply chain really needs to be looked at a little strongly as far as healthcare goes. There are certain systems that were already set. Now, what happens is, they always say crisis shows character in any situation. And I think this crisis has also exposed a lot of flaws in the system. Having said that, we should also remember that this is something that is very new. So when we are saying that there are new protocols and there are new drugs coming in, something as simple as PPE, there was a huge shortage of PPE, and even I was a little upset that our teams were not getting it, and it was in short supply. But the fact of the matter is that it was not needed as frequently before as it was right now. Now suddenly everybody needed it. Earlier we would use it for a few select diseases, maybe HCV, HBV, or HIV. So HIV kits, of course, were available, but only the certain team that was maybe operating would use them. Suddenly now everybody needed it, so they were already in short supply. And then there was a huge how should I say? There was a huge demand for these
Yeah.
equipment. Even the drugs were new. Whether you talk of tocilizumab or remdesivir, they were all under trial. They've
Yeah.
been pushed through,
Yeah. Yeah.
slowly, steadily, and it's something. It's a learning curve, I think. Maybe
Yeah.
the next time we are hit with a pandemic, we'll be better prepared.
Yeah.
So I would like to give a little bit of leeway to the healthcare systems because it's new. See, everybody is dealing with it, everybody is grappling with it. It's not just India. It's easy for us to point fingers and blame people, but developed countries, so to speak, whether
Yeah.
you look at the US or Australia or UK, who have very, very good healthcare systems, are also struggling. So compared to that, I think we are okay. Yes, we do need to look at our systems. We do need all the flaws, whether public sector or private sector, have come to light and have been exposed, and people are more aware. So I think when the people start being more aware, it's time for change,
Yeah.
and we'll all work together towards a better future and better systems.
And just to add to your point, Dr. Patil, you mentioned my stint at the COVID positive ward, and I've really seen this huge transformation that technology is bringing about to
Yes,
governance. And
yes,
and when you have a WhatsApp group with the superintendent of the hospital in that group, suddenly things
mm.
can really lift themselves, right? And
Of
suddenly
course, of course,
you just see the government machinery working very
of
smoothly. So
course, of course.
there's of course so much to learn, and of course that we will have to pick up along the way. I'll
Yes.
introduce our program coordinator, Dr. Deviprita Dattagupta madam, is a faculty in the Department of Zoology at Gurucharan College in my hometown of Silchar. Madam
Oh
has
wow.
consented to be our program coordinator, and she has been part of all the sessions so far. And I'd like Madam to welcome Vijayashri and uh, open the session for discussion.
Good evening, ma'am.
So, good evening, Dr. Patil. I'm so happy I have learned only one sentence in Marathi because I used to, my roommate, my research days, she was from Mumbai, Kasakai. So whenever
Ah, बरं आहे.
so I used to,
So sweet.
yeah, today only I was talking to her. She is in Australia now, and I
Okay.
told her that I'm going to meet another of your
Yes.
Mumbai, yeah, something like that. She was telling me about. So she instructed me, you should talk to her in Marathi. No, you stayed with me for 5 years.
Yes.
No, I only. So it's really to have you here with us. We are so
Thank you so
grateful.
much. The pleasure's all mine, believe me.
Thank you so much. So, participants, Himobroto, they want to ask anything to Dr. Patil?
Yeah, please. If you have any questions to ask,
Yeah,
please go on. I'll be back in few minutes.
so I have a question for Dr. Patil. Okay, let me
Yes.
introduce myself first. I'm Arunadhay Gupta from Assam, basically
Hi.
from the same town as Himo Pratodha.
Okay.
So my question for you is that I'm actually curious about Dharavi's maintenance of the COVID situation, even after
Right.
being so much plastered. Like,
Right.
how did we manage to like not have so many like explosion of cases in there? Like Dharavi has
Hmm.
been in the news recently.
Yes.
What do you have to say about this?
Uh, See, you have to understand that in a city like Bombay, there are certain pockets like Dharavi or any area, if you see, the resident associations are quite strong, you know. So then you function as a community, even if you have people from all over the country or people from all religions and castes and whatever, you kind of function as a community because it comes down to a matter of survival. So
Right.
Dharavi, first of all, had a very strong community action against the virus. They've all worked very hard together, and credit must be given where credit is due. Secondly, I think the community healthcare workers and the doctors were going very actively in screening them. They have done a fantastic door to door job, you know, of screening people, educating them. The preventive social medicine teams have gone through, told them what to do exactly, and they have also cooperated and abided by these rules. So I think we were all very worried, you know, when things got to that area because the population density is crazy there. So there
Right.
is no question of social distancing. So it goes to one person, is going to spread really, really fast. More than anything, that is, you know, what we were really, really afraid of. But it's been tackled well. One, because people have been very cooperative. Secondly, the healthcare teams have done very, very great work on the ground levels. So it's been the social workers, the doctors, students, interns from all the medical colleges have been posted to go there in full PPE in sweltering Bombay heat. You can imagine the kind of work that they have put in. So it's been a
Okay.
very collective effort on everybody's part. And that's how it actually got controlled. Otherwise, it would have been a mess.
That's
Good
great.
question that from Orunodai. I'd like Muksud to ask his question. Muksud is a student from the Department of MBA, Assam University. He's been helping us with our website, and
Oh,
he's
lovely.
also responsible for the recording that this show is about to, like, this show is getting
Okay.
recorded now. So he's the man
Right.
behind that, and yeah, the link will be up on YouTube. So Muksud,
Great.
I'd like you to welcome our guest and fire in a question if you have one.
Sure, sure. Thank you, sir, for the introduction. Lovely introduction. Welcome, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Maksud.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, that was like, you gave a sparkling entry. That entry was like, it's striking my mind, And they say that doctors don't lose hope. If they lose hope, then what will we do? Right?
True,
So this,
true.
this was what you showed, and it was lovely because we tried to connect. It was an internet issue. It's
Yeah.
not in our hand. So you tried one time, second time, third time you left. You could have said, "अरे नहीं हो रहा है, connect छोड़ देते हैं." But you gave your best and you connected again, and that's really this sparkling thing to see. Great.
Thank you.
Welcome, ma'am. So,
Thank
ma'am,
you.
I think being a doctor, you are aware of the rod of Asclepius, right?
Sorry?
That rod of
I can't.
Asclepius, that
Yeah.
snake that the
Yeah,
doctor
yeah,
uses,
yeah,
the
yeah,
symbol is there.
yeah, yeah.
So, can you brief us about the participants if you know something about the knowledge of the being of the rod of Asclepius?
Mm,
Interesting one,
I,
interesting one. This one is from medical history, and this is something actually
I,
very symbolic. Like, that's a tough one from Muksud, right?
that's a tough one. That's a tough
Yeah,
one.
yeah,
Dr. Das,
yeah,
you want to
yeah,
help me
yeah.
out with that?
I'm not 100% on this one, but it's got to do with a Greek physician, if I'm not
Yes,
mistaken. And
yes, yes.
the stick and the serpents. Yeah, that is quite an image. Quite an image. Yes.
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 We'll have to get to that. We'll need to do another panel discussion on that. But a good
Yeah,
question
that's a
nonetheless, Muktud. Yeah.
Actually, ma'am,
Dr.
I
Purna,
came to know about this. I was traveling and by car, and suddenly one ambulance was crossing me, and I saw that
yeah.
symbol. So I
Yes.
was like, from my childhood, it has been like 25, 26 years, and I'm seeing this symbol. What is this? What is this
Mm.
type of epic? So
Yeah.
I searched in the Google. I went to many Greek websites. I found many articles, and then I found that it's basically when it came to India, the symbol it got two wings, two snakes, and one
Mm-hmm.
stick. But
Yes.
actually, it is one stick, one snake.
Oh,
Am I
is
right?
it?
Yes. It actually deformed its shape. Actually, when it was
Okay.
founded, first of all,
maybe because of the population
yes, yes, yes.
to make
So
it more representative, maybe.
yes, so some Indians we are very much artistic in nature, so they made it artistic. So
Yeah.
then I said the story behind it, and it is said that God is in the shape of as a snake is poisonous, and
Right.
snake is used to kill that snake, right? So it's similar with the Greek of God, who is to bring death and who is to bring cure also. So
Oh, okay.
this is what is
Wonderful.
represents the rod of
Oh,
Asclepius.
that's really nice.
Dr. Patil Moksud has been absolutely brilliant all
He
week.
has.
We
He
started
has.
on Sunday. Participants, we were expecting you to join us for a little bit on
Yeah,
Monday, if
yeah.
you
I
remember.
couldn't
But
join,
yeah, you
unfortunately.
can
Yes,
join.
yes.
But and all throughout the week, Moksud just been absolutely. He's been the find of the week so far.
Oh, that's
Great job.
brilliant.
Good question,
I'm
that Moksud.
I'm honored to have also been a part of this. Thank you,
Sure,
Maksud.
ma'am.
Yeah,
So, ma'am,
and
I will ask you a question, ma'am, just in short, ma'am. Like being in the in a doctoral position and dealing with patients is like being in an environment of a negativity. You're
Hmm.
from the morning to evening till you sleep, or the calls you are getting, you're always in a negative environment. So,
Yeah.
what drives you like being in a positive environment, though so much of negativity? Does it, at some point of time, kneels you down and you'll feel like, क्या करना है? Then you sometimes motivate you out. So what
Yeah.
gives you driving go day by day and like fighting? And now this new situation also came up.
Before COVID also, I work a lot in cancer care. So, their surgeries, their intensive care. It's not very pleasant. COVID also has, worsened the stress. And yes, medicine is quite a stressful field. You see a lot of morbidity, mortality. It's not easy. It's not for everyone, I would say that. But at the same time, I think, it's like an entire universe in itself. So if there is negativity, there is also positivity. You also see, wonderful things. You see babies being born and we give them to the mothers. We see our patients who had absolutely no hope and they suddenly, they do really well with all our efforts, and then they go home. We see young boys and girls, when I was working in trauma care, they would have these horrendous road traffic accidents, bikers, and then, people, their parents would give up hope, and we'd be struggling and struggling and struggling with them 1 month, 2 months in the ICU, and then they walk home from the hospital. Where do you get to see that? If the lows are low, the highs are also very high. So you're literally, giving people life. I mean, at the risk of sounding very arrogant, also,
No,
but
ma'am, it's
it's
true.
it's true, and it's miraculous. Sometimes, even we don't realize how much we have done or what we have done to, to be able to see these things. But we do that recovery. It makes all of it worth it, And then, of course, at the end of the day, we do have to try and be as optimistic as possible. Otherwise, if you keep looking at only the bad things, it's going to consume you, and that will mess with you professionally and personally also. So you try to find joy in, everyday moments. You try to find happiness in small things. You look at de-stressors, whatever works for you, whether it's exercise or yoga or music or just being with your friends and people you love, and try and keep that going. So
That's
And
great.
you totally agree with what Dr. Patil has to say, and you can only imagine, Dr. Patil, how it might feel for a psychiatrist when you have
I
somebody.
think I was just going to say that,
Yeah,
because
yeah, and
they
it's almost
really
like
take
you.
the mental burden also, for them. Like,
And,
we are
and when,
physically putting ourselves out there,
yes,
but they have to day in and day out listen, and it does impact you, emotionally, mentally, dealing with people who have problems and listening to them. It's very exhausting. I think Really, I don't think you'll get the kind of
And
credit that you should.
and
It's a
and and,
phenomenal job.
and to add to your point, Dr. Patil, when you see a patient, because in psychiatry we are mostly dealing with chronic illnesses, then when you see a person come and tell you that 6 months after he had the symptoms, he started going back to his job, he's resuming a
Yeah,
healthy family life, and his social life is coming back, and it's also a great it's like an eye opener as well, that things can really change for the better,
yes,
and
yes,
and you can really undergo metamorphosis in one lifetime and become
absolutely,
a totally different person, no matter what the circumstances are.
absolutely.
I'll go over to Shatoparna. Shatoparna, do you have a question for our resource person?
Yes, sir. Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening.
Ma'am, I wanted to ask that we hear the fatality rate for COVID is very less, and it
Hmm.
usually, in fact, it usually, in fact, more in adults and infants. So why is it so, ma'am? Because I'm asking because, ma'am, I have a relative in Guwahati, staying Guwahati.
Hmm.
So he was COVID positive. So he was just given the drug paracetamol, and it worked wonder for him. I don't know why. So how is it possible that the drug paracetamol, and he was positive earlier, and then he tested negative 3 days back, 3 days after.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
how is it? I just wanted to know that.
See, COVID or any viral disease, if you take for that matter, any disease, it's always a balance. If the organisms infect you, they can stay in your system and your immune system fights back. So now how your body responds to the disease always depends on your immunity and your immune levels and your general health condition. So when we talk of fatality is how many deaths the disease is going to cause and how severely it's going to affect your immune system. So COVID, like the common cold, some people have a cold for 3 days and they're back to work. Some people have a cold for 7 days. And some people actually end up getting pneumonias and all of these other things, depending on their immunity. So it's similar to that. Some people who are COVID positive can have a very mild illness. Some people could just be asymptomatic. They might not even need paracetamol. They won't even know that they're carrying the virus and they'll just be walking around freely. So again, it depends on your immune system. It depends on your general constitution. It depends on your risk factors. So if you already have certain diseases like say diabetes or blood pressure or any chronic disease ailment, you are at a certain risk level. If you have an immunocompromised state like say cancer, or if you've had a transplant, or pregnant women, they are at a significantly higher risk than normal individuals. So there is always a gradation of risk, and that also tells us how you will respond to the virus. So all of these things do come into play. Everybody will not react in the same way. So that is why some people can get away with nothing. Some people can get away with just paracetamol. Some people would probably need viral agents. Some people would, end up needing an ICU setup. So it's a very personal response. Of course, if you do have risk factors, then it is easier because we would know that you are going to react in a certain way.
Okay, thank you so much. Bisho, can you hear us? I think Bisho is experiencing some network issues. Bisho, can you hear us? He's left again. So I'll ask him to put in his question in a little while. Yeah, Bisho.
Hello, sir. Am I
Yeah.
audible?
Yes, you are.
Yes. Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening.
Ma'am, first of all, a very heartful thanks to you because you being in Mumbai, you are serving the people in such a serious situation now. COVID-19,
Thank
it's
you.
all around. So my question to you is, how are you coping up with the situation? How are you your mental health and your physical health since you must be very busy nowadays?
Yes,
So how are
yes.
you
Before you answer
coping?
that, Dr. Patil, I'd like to let our participants know of something known as Midnight Concert. Dr. Patil also happens to be a wonderful singer, and we will end this session with a song from you. And just to add to what Dr. Patil will have to say, singing certainly a stress buster, right?
Yes, definitely. Definitely. So I think it is a very stressful situation. You see the cases going up. You see the on the road once the lockdown was lifted. People were just on the roads, and we were all very upset because we said, so much mehnat we have done, and because of a few people who are just running amok, it's going to go down the drain, and the cases did spike once the lockdown was released. So yeah, it is stressful to see that, and I think everybody is on edge. Like Dr. Das will be able to explain that phenomena a little better.
Yeah.
But we are all like small things which probably wouldn't have triggered us earlier have begun to trigger you. People at work will suddenly start fighting, or you're just in a bad mood, or suddenly you'll start crying, and we're seeing all this happening with our colleagues and co-workers who were in great mental state earlier, but now the stress does get you. Everybody is overworked. There is a perpetual stress that you might carry the virus home. So nothing might happen to you, but people at home might get affected, and it's generally a very stressful time. And like Dr. Das will be able to tell you how to deal with stress probably better than I can. But I think all of us need to find our de-stressors or coping mechanisms, as I want to call it. So whatever works for you, it's always a very personal choice. So for me, definitely music does help. I do like to sing. I used to not sing. In fact, since college got done, for about 10 years, I had not sung anything because I was so busy with work, and I thought, now I'm like a proper adult, so I should be a little more serious about my life. And suddenly I got quarantined once for exposure to the virus, and I was so stressed. I said I didn't know what to do, and I just started singing, and it actually made me feel much better, because for those 5 minutes that I was singing the song, I just forgot about everything, So that really helped me. So then I started singing, and I started this thing called Midnight Concerts that he said, and it was good for me. So I think some of my colleagues are doing yoga, some of them are exercising, some of them like to, work out, so to speak, at home. So whatever works for you is what you have to do, without really thinking about what the world is going to say and who's going to say what, and that kind of thing.
That's a wonderful answer. And the next person you will see on your screen is an 11-year-old.
Oh.
And he joins us every day. We call him Junior. He's here with his mother. Hello, Junior.
Hi.
Microphone ta on karo. He's always there with us, with his mother. He patiently listens
So
in.
sweet.
And he must be finding all this adult talk gibberish, but
Yeah. He's listening.
He's listening. He's more disciplined than some of our adults. Hello, Junior.
Hello.
Hey, namaskar.
Hi.
You'll have to speak in Hindi.
Oh, okay.
Madam, Hindi te kichu jigai line Vijayashri re.
Hi, Junior. Do we call him Junior?
Yeah, we all call him Junior.
Hello.
So sweet.
Hello.
Hello,
Good
Junior.
afternoon, ma'am. Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon. How are you?
This must be an overwhelming situation for Junior,
I
but
know.
thank you so much for joining in, both Madam Anamika Deb and Junior. খুব ভালো লাগে যে আপনারা প্রত্যেকদিন আইন আমরা অনুষ্ঠান জয়েন করুন। Before we are about to wind up, I know you had a long day, and we are coming to more than 45 minutes. We are all fascinated by the Mumbai way of speaking Hindi. So, could you tell us a few classic Mumbai Hindi lines? Something that you won't hear anywhere else, but only in Mumbai.
Oh my God. See, you should have told me these questions. I would have prepared.
No, there has to be an element of surprise, right?
Okay. Mumbai lines. Like what kind of slang? Oh, let me see.
Like cutting is something that I don't think I've heard anywhere else.
Cutting chai?
Cutting.
Yeah.
एकदम
Oh.
रापचिक लग रहा है.
Raptik.
Yes,
Great
Rapchik.
one.
And I do. Yes, cutting is what we call chai or
Yeah.
coffee, like a half because everything is fast, right? Everything is fast in Bombay. Time is money. Nobody cares about
Yeah,
anything
yeah,
else. So
yeah,
we are just moving
yeah.
so fast. There's no time to have chai. So we have just like 2 sips of chai, and that's called cutting.
And
Uh,
on a more
I'm
serious
from
note,
Mumbai.
Doctor, I just
uh,
like to ask, as a cricket lover myself, and you watch the cricketing greats that Mumbai has really produced over the
yes,
years, and their stories are so inspiring, right from
yes,
Sunil Gavaskar up to Sachin Tendulkar, and then you've got the brilliant people like Rohit Sharma and
yes,
Jemima Rodriguez, the young girl who's just absolutely brilliant,
yes,
right? And
yes.
what is it about Mumbai that just keeps creating these superstars? क्या है मुंबई में?
So for Mumbai, I think what football is to Calcutta, cricket is to Bombay, and Shivaji Park is just our. It's like holy ground, you know,
Yeah,
where all these greats have actually come out of. You can see the kids when they go with their kids, they actually touch the floor and they are just so like you'll really think they're entering a temple. This it's so ingrained in all of us, even people like us. I've never played cricket, but when I pass by all these areas where Sachin Tendulkar and Sunil Gavaskar I would like literally like it's like that like reverence that does happen. And of course Wankhede, and we were so proud that the 2011 World Cup finals were held here, because that was, I think, the crowning glory. Like India wins, and India wins in Mumbai. So of course that was phenomenal for all of us. But I
wonderful.
think there's a huge passion. It's not just passion, it's like a religion. Cricket, it just binds everybody together. People just sit and watch cricket day in and day out. It's insane. And then of course you have all of the people, the seniors, who actually do come out and they do guide the youngsters. They do keep a watch on them and they do encourage them. So that, of course, plays a very important role. So there's a good culture of cricket in Bombay. So I think that's the reason people do come up.
Wonderful. Proud Mumbaikar there, Dr. Patil.
Absolutely.
I'd like one final comment each from Madam and Maksud, and then we'll finish with the song, Dr. Patil.
Oh,
It was so nice to hear you. I just want to know a little bit about your this thing, safety net. How do you provide service to people who need help? Okay. I just want to know.
so what has been happening all over the country, not just in Mumbai, is that so basically how we started the safety net. There were a lot of cases where young doctors, residents were getting beaten up. We've seen it in Bombay, Delhi, the South, Calcutta, all over, and it was very heartbreaking. And then there were protests and all sorts of things, but nothing much was really happening. And at the same time, the other problem that I faced as a doctor with a lot of non-medical friends was that people didn't know what I was doing. They just thought that, oh, she saves lives, but what do I really do? Like I said, they'll ask me, oh, you're an anesthetist. What does that mean? Acha, you're a surgeon. Acha, you're a psychiatrist. Matlab kya hota hai? They had these few things, pagal logo ka doctor hai. And I said, that's not how it's very demeaning. And I said, how would you like it if I said something like that about your profession? So I realized that there was an absolute lack of awareness as to what we do uh, in the general population. And at the same time, I felt it's that same lack of awareness that is causing these increased incidences of, violence against doctors or juniors, because communication is a problem. Again, people don't know what to expect when they see a doctor. They just assume you're going to save their life or the life of the patients who have come there. They don't know at what stage, beyond a certain stage, you really can't do much, or our hands are tied, or, you have to bring patients early so we can salvage them early. All this is not told to people. They're just told कि हाँ hospital लेके जाओ उधर सब ठीक हो जाएगा. So obviously, health awareness is not something we focus on in this country, unfortunately. And that is something I wanted to change. It's a very ambitious plan, but it has to start somewhere. And I think we've got wonderful support. So we initially started off with social media, and we picked up small topics like whether it's vaccines or, cancer or even mental health, stress or heartbreak, topics that people don't talk about, they don't, consider very important. And we tried making it a little fun and something so that the lay people could also, lap it up. It doesn't sound like a boring lecture that a doctor is giving. So that is how it began. slowly we've also expanded. Like, so the theme is awareness, training, and education. So we started with awareness. We also got into, we've created an online course for CPR and first aid management, where, if you have a medical emergency at home, I'm not saying that we can make you a doctor in just by watching our class or taking our course, but at least what you can do till the ambulance reaches you, or at what point you can recognize signs and symptoms of a heart attack and get to the doctor immediately, or you understand what a stroke looks like, and you can move the patients to the hospital, so you can get good care faster, and then you recover faster with that entire system. In about by the next month, we'll also be launching our courses for nursing and paramedical training. So that also is something we are looking at. And yeah, that's how we are planning to build up. I can't hear you, madam. Your mic is off, I think.
Yeah, madam, just turn on your microphone.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Patil. It was the idea is so unique, the concept, I just loved it. And
Thank
I
you,
hope
ma'am.
people, a lot of things people will get benefited from this
I hope
project.
so too.
Yeah, surely, it's wonderful.
Maksud, final remarks from you.
Ma'am, like whatever I have heard about you right now is like I want to know you more. Like you are like such a chota packet bada dhamaka. You came out like that.
Thank you so much. That coming from you, I think you also have been quite a bada dhamaka in today's discussion.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
With some of the most awkward and difficult questions for our resource
Yeah,
person. Yeah.
absolutely. Bouncer
Okay.
in cricketing terms.
Okay, ma'am, as our this platform, Suzuki Mind, we have launched
Yes.
Cuba program, and we have some young participants with us. So, like to end this session, can you tell us some inspiring stories that motivates you or keeps you going? And for this our student journey, also we need some positive vibes in our us. And being a
Yes.
doctor, your doctors are like everyday learning phase, right?
Yes,
You do
absolutely.
so you with a positive mindset you daily learn something and then you
Yes.
help other people.
Yes.
So being in this yuva generation, can you tell us any kind of stories or inspirational quotes, something like that?
Yes, definitely. So, again, one of the reasons, I said, so I've been a CPR trainer. I train for basic and advanced life support. I take classes for about the last 4 years. And I've been training BLS and ACLS for medical personnel, We didn't look at anyone else. We used to either train nurses, doctors, paramedics, technicians, people who work in the hospital, basically. And what happened is, one day I was, I go for a run in the evenings, and I was running, and these two girls come up to me, and kids, about 14, 15-year-old girls. And they come up to me and they're like, Didi, Didi, aap doctor hai na? So I said, yeah. And they said, आप ICU में काम करते हो ना? I said, हाँ. So they said, एक अंकल है वहाँ पे गिर गए हैं. So I said, what happened? So they said he's fallen down and we don't know what to do. Now, this was about 6:30 in the evening, okay? And in Bombay, at least, everybody is working, right? Husband, wife working. So evening time, usually they come home from office at about 8, 8:30. So 6:30, kids have come home from school. Usually the system is that either the grandparents are home or there's, some help, domestic help who will be there at home, and the kids, that's it. The adults are usually away at this time. So now there's a grandfather who's fallen in the parking lot, okay, of a building. And I went and he didn't have a pulse. He was not breathing. And they said, they were playing some hide and seek or something. And these are all school going kids, all right. Nobody is above 16 years of age. This is all between 13 to 16 ka age group. There were about 8 of them. So I said, okay, no pulse, as a doctor, like my medical training said, okay, so no pulse, no breathing, I have to start CPR. So I started CPR and I said, okay, now they're all kids. What do? I said, go and call the grandmother, like his wife or some family member. So she came down and she said, oh, I don't know what to do. And, we have to take him to the hospital. I don't know. My daughter will come from, a faraway suburb of Bombay. Now, Bombay at 6:30, the traffic is so crazy that, you will not reach from the point where she was telling me to this place in less than 2 hours. So I said, we can't wait that long. This is a crisis. We need to shift him. Now I had to call an ambulance and I had to coordinate all of these things. So now if my hands get off the patient, who's going to give CPR? So I said, oh God, now what do I do? So I said, one of these boys just looked at me and he said, ma'am, you want me to do this? I said, can you? And he said, yeah, I'll copy you. I said, okay, go for it. So he and another boy, and they were rotating. So slowly, 8 of them standing there, each of them picked up CPR just by looking at me. They did a phenomenal job. Meanwhile, I was watching them and monitoring them. And I coordinated the ambulance. The ambulance was there in about 15 minutes. We moved him and his wife to the hospital. The daughter came straight to the hospital. We gave CPR for a good 15 minutes. That man came home 7 days later. I didn't do this by myself, right? There were children, absolute children. And that's when I realized, this was before I started Safety Net. And I said, we just need to teach them what to do. They are so brilliant. They pick up things so well. Why are we only training adults? Why are we training people who already work in hospitals? We should be training these kids. So that's when I created this course of medical emergencies and CPR. And, we started going to schools, colleges, Boy Scouts, Girl Guides. We started going and training them. And they are so good. They are so responsive. They pick up things so well. So I think our future is in brilliant hands. All we need to do is, sharpen their minds a bit and push them in the right direction. And I think it's a brilliant generation that's coming up. They're already exposed to so much information, with the internet. So with the right direction, I think they're going to do wonders.
What an inspiring story. Yeah, that is absolutely amazing story that Dr. Patil.
Ma'am, I got goosebumps, ma'am. Like this is an inspiring story.
It's a true story. It's a true story.
Yes, ma'am. I'm going to share this story in my any other motivational talks, ma'am. Like it's
wonderful.
Definitely.
To ma'am, at this session, ma'am,
and I just like to say that CZG mind is in safe hands with compelling resource persons like you for support, and we will definitely talk about the safety net and how CZG mind can come together. We've only begun.
I would look forward to that.
Yeah, and I think we've got some positive things to contribute, and it will take time, but I think the country is witnessing a digital revolution, and
absolutely.
And we have to prepare, because you can't blame politicians, because politicians will live in the present, right?
Correct.
It's the knowledge leaders who have to think about the future, is what I always believe.
Absolutely.
And it's so great that you, Dr. Patil, have come up with this wonderful initiative. We are almost about to finish, and I'd like to thank Dr. Devi Preeta Madam, Moksood, Dr. Shomit Chaudhary sir is with us, Onamika, and Junior, of course, Shatoporna, and all our other participants. Before we let you go, a few words about the charitable hospital that your family runs up in Pen in Raigarh.
Yes.
I jokingly sometimes call you the Princess of Raigarh.
Yes.
So a few lines about your association with the hospital, and then please delight us with a song.
So my parents they're both from Bombay, mind you. They're both born and raised in the city, but they felt that, Pen is just about 82 kilometers away from Bombay city. And still we have we don't have the kind of healthcare that, of course, the city does. And it's so sad that people can't, they can't make it here in spite of having the kind of resources that are so close by. So you can imagine what happens in the interiors. So they felt that they need to give back to society. My parents are very, they believe in doing a lot of work in that direction, social work. So they said that, once they finished their studying and everything and they started practice, they said at least weekends we want to start going and giving back to our community, so to speak. So which is how they started. It was a small setup. Initially, it was only 10 beds because they didn't, collect any funds, because they said we put in our own money. And it was a brilliant initiative. So when we were in school also, my sister and I would, be going there every weekend and helping them out in whatever little way we could. whether it meant, taking phone calls or just, writing the names of the patients who are in line and, things like that. So we started seeing, most people would think that, when you are born and raised in a city, you have a very privileged upbringing. And I'm glad, touch wood, I did have a good urban upbringing. But at the same time, because I would go there every weekend, I did see a certain side to society that I would not have, if I was just in the city all the time. So I did see the problems that they were facing, and I did see how my parents were trying and helping them. Slowly, that initiative grew, and right now we have 60 beds in our hospital. We have a fully functional OT. I am planning to start a proper ICU setup so that it does help people there. Slowly and steadily, we are moving upwards, and it's a very nice feeling. People say that doctors just work for money and doctors just do this and that, and there's this very strong feeling in society that that is all people do. But then, I think stories like these do need to get highlighted also, that there is this end of the spectrum too, where they have put in their own money, they have done this brilliant work, and they have encouraged me and my sister also to continue. It's not that they have discouraged us ever. They're very proud of the fact that we also want to come there and continue serving the people that they have. So it's brilliant.
Thank you so much.
So, ma'am, telling a story, miss. I just like to quote a famous quote by Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj. As it said, ma'am, "Jagat par yashacha marg asal tar to mo shodhin, ani nasal tar mag shata nirman kadin." As it said, for any success, if there is a way, I will find it. If there is no way, I will make it. And that's what you did, ma'am. It's great, actually, ma'am.
That is
a wonderful quote.
Wonderful
Maksud,
quote. Thank
we
you.
are going to find a way to send Maksud to Mumbai someday soon, Dr. Patil.
Please do. I would be delighted to meet him.
And what about you coming down to the Northeast? I know you love traveling.
I do. And I was really looking forward to coming earlier also. Unfortunately, as of now, all travel plans are on hold, but I would love to come then. I would love to do some work that with you, and I would love to be a part of some program.
Thank you so much. Also. Thank you so much.
I think what you are doing is brilliant in the field of psychiatry and community psychiatry. The kind of work that you are doing and the kind of encouragement that you are giving to young people is phenomenal. And I do hope you continue on this path, and I do hope I can help in whatever small way I can.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. Patil. बहुत बातें हुई, अभी एक गाना हो जाए आपकी सुरीली आवाज से. I'm trying to sound a little Bollywood. आपकी सुरीली आवाज में एक गाना हो जाए, Dr. Patil.
You are too kind. You know that.
Please. हाँ.
Which song would you like me to sing?
I'd like you to sing the song from Parinita, which is also one of my favorites.
Oh yes. Okay.
You don't have to sing the entire song. If you have a problem, you can just.
I'll sing a bit.
Sure. Please.
नहीं ये बातें है पुरानी, वो कैसी पहेली है ये, कैसी पहेली जिंदगानी. थामा हारों का इसको किसने, हाँ ये तो बहता पानी. कैसी पहेली जिंदगानी. ला 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 ला, जू 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 पीले इससे इसमें नशा, जिसने पिया वो गम में भी हंसा. सूरी डगर पे जैसे सूरी ये छाँव है पुरानी. हो कैसी पहेली जिंदगानी.
Absolutely amazing, Dr. Patil, and
thank you
just
so much.
Like your song, Kaisi Paheli Zindagani, and it's really been an magical session. Really, for a moment at the start, I thought we'd lost you,
No,
but
no. I found
we,
you.
we yeah, and we really found the best of you. I'd like to request Devjita Madam your final remarks and a formal vote of thanks. I think it's been an absolutely magical evening, hasn't it been, Madam?
Yes, it was an absolute fun, and we really enjoyed with Dr. Patil. She was
Thank you so much.
really we enjoyed. In I loved your voice, and you have got the
Thank you.
the most beautiful smile.
Thank you so much.
So
Very
nice.
kind of you. Thank you for having me. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to interact with such wonderful people. It's been an absolute pleasure for me.
We are honored. Thank you so much. We are honored.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your time, Dr. Vijay Patil, Vijayashri Patil. So that brings us to the end of
Thank
this
you.
memorable session. Thank you, Dr. Patil, for joining in all the way from
Thank you for
Mumbai,
having
and all
me.
the best. All the best for your endeavors as an anesthetist and critical care specialist.
Thank
Also,
you.
with all the wonderful work that you're doing with Safety Net, and all the
Thank
best
you.
with the hospital that your family is running
Thank
wonderfully
you.
up in Ten in Raigad. And we
Thank you
look
so
forward
much.
to meeting you very soon when you come to the country.
I look forward to it. I definitely look for it.
Final word from you, Dr. Patil, before we say good night. How did you find the session?
I think it was wonderful. Some great discussions. I learned a lot today. Maksud has taught me quite a few things.
Thank
It's
you,
been
ma'am.
wonderful. It's a nice, warm session. It's been so friendly and so kind. It's really nice. It de-stressed me, so to speak. It's been wonderful.
Good night then to
Good
this
night.
wonderful resource persons from the city of
Thank you.
dreams. Thank you so much, Dr. Patil,
See you.
and we'll
Bye.
keep in touch. Thank you. Good night. God bless.
Definitely. Good night. Bye.
Good night, ma'am.
Yes, this is like you get me. Yes. সব সব শেষ আরে খেয়ে দেখো তো